I never thought that this would be the type of work that really touched my soul, touched my heart. That passion turned into wanting to help people understand the benefits and the opportunities in the skilled trades, turned into the book, Blue is the New White, turned into a podcast.
Change often starts with just opening your mind, not necessarily the conscious decision to change. Just because we don't have the title, a title at the end that says leader doesn't mean we aren't leading somebody.
I'm a firm believer that leadership and influence are interchangeable words.
Welcome to our latest BEX Community Live event. My name is Jennifer Davis, and I'd like to welcome you to this month's topic, Leading the Shift, expert advice on change management from my friend Josh Zolin. So change management, when we think about it, is a vital part of the dynamics of our world. So how we handle change, how it impacts our business and our personal pursuits. It's all about smooth transitions. It's about minimal drama. It's about sustained flow. So many times people think that they don't like change, but oftentimes it has more to do with how the change happens than it does to whether or not we like change. So mastering change management fosters adaptability and resilience. It ensures a competitive edge. We so often as leaders think that we have people in our organizations who aren't change minded, when really what it may have more to do with how we affect change, how we motivate change in our organization. So now let's talk about the guy that's on camera with me. His name is Josh Zolin. He's a dynamic entrepreneur. He's an author. He's an advocate for the blue collar industry, which is something I am super passionate about. He is also the CEO of Windy City Equipment Services. What I have seen in Josh is, in an industry of very stagnant businesses, he has taken a small family business and created a thriving, transformative business in the commercial kitchen space. And so when I was thinking about who we should have talk about this, he was one of the first people that came to mind.
Well, first off, thank you for that. And thank you for inviting me on the show. Super honored that you thought of me in any capacity. So to kind of, I guess, complete that bio a little bit, like you said, took my dad's business. He started in 2003. I came on in 2008. Right, I took that business from just he and I to almost 70 employees, 4 branches over 3 states, and multiple trades in the commercial blue collar space, right, from a service aspect. And in the first part of this year, we launched Blue is the New White Academy to help teach business owners and their team how to align and move forward together through the change is one of them, right, in a online course style format. So one of the things that we see in the blue collar space is let's call it a revolving door sometimes, right, and retention issues with technicians, whether it's at the hands of the employer or the employee. We see both all the time. And one of the things that we say in the management position or leadership position is, man, if only that guy or that girl had, this and this from a character perspective, they would be such a great employee, right? If only they knew how their actions affected the bottom line of the organization, man, that would really close the gap and get them to understand what they're doing and why. And these were the questions I think that nobody thought could be answered. I think that, it was like, unless you spend thousands and thousands of dollars or time and effort to train this stuff to your staff, and who has time in the blue collar space, right? It just won't happen. So we just have to work around it, right? That's what I see a lot of. If they can answer a question that I can provoke thought with, then we have a better chance of them seeing the change, accepting the change, and wanting the change. But one of the things that we often want to change in our organization is we want to inspire independent thought, right? And we don't want employees here that just check boxes. Nobody does. Everybody wants our employees and our team, to ask, to answer their own questions and to execute, on their own accord, called initiative, right? So I have a thing that I do where if somebody comes to me with a problem, right, I ask these 3 questions. Very simple. What have you already done? what are 5 solutions and what's the best solution? And I'm going to tell you right now, Jen, that 98% of the time, they know what that right solution is. They don't need me to tell them. But the second that I tell them is the second that they don't need to think.
So I would like right now to play a video. There's actually 2 videos that I want to share, but the first one is a Simon Sinek video, and it's one that I happen to be a huge fan of Simon. I've read every single thing I think he's ever put out multiple times, but this one is one that I think is really relevant to this topic. So I'm gonna pull this up and share it, and then we'll talk about it.
I think we should all imagine what a perfect world should look like, and we should talk about it, and we should talk about it obsessively. And we should think about how we can lead our lives, manage our relationships, and build our business to take us one step closer to that ideal state. As I said before, I believe change starts at home. And if we can change the way we lead, and just think about the number of people in this room, that if we can go home and we can learn to have grace, and we can learn to have empathy, and we can learn to change the narrative we have about some of the people on our team, that maybe they're just in a bad situation, that they had bad leadership. Think about the ripple effects that just this one room can have, and how many employees, how many people we work with just in this one room, that by us treating them with dignity, us treating them with respect, us learning those human skills, that people feel seen and heard and understood, that those people go home happier, they treat their families better, they treat their friends better, they treat their colleagues better, those people go home and they treat their families. I think the possibility for world peace literally exists in this room alone.
I think there's some traps in this video. I think that largely I understand what he's saying, but I feel like I kind of have to read between the lines a little bit in order to really grasp it, which is fine. I'm good at reading between the lines. Some people aren't, which is some of the issues I take with him, with clarity and stuff like that. But I really like what he says. I agree 100% that change starts at home. I agree 100% that we need to work every single day to have that empathy, to approach our situations with ourselves, with our family, with our employees, with grace and in the right frame of mind. Now, with that being said, I think it's incredibly important that we understand our own boundaries in this. Right. Jocko Willink also says there are no bad team members. There's only bad leaders. Right. And again, I understand what he's saying, but it's real easy for this narrative to be driven into people and then take that to heart and say, well, shit, I must be doing something wrong if I can't get through to this person. And I'm going to tell you right now, that's not always correct. Right. And I've struggled with this myself. So that's why my opinions are strong on it. Right. I have put faith in people, and I've poured into people who didn't want to be poured into. And I think that everybody out there could probably relate in some way, shape, or form. And I'm also a big believer in Taoism. Like I think in order for there to be peace, there also has to be the opposite. And that's unfortunate. And, trust me, I'm sitting here waiting to be proven wrong, so I don't know that world peace starts in that room, and that it will ever truly be achieved so long as the human design is the way that it is.
What I took away from that is that we have to think about things holistically. I am very big into holistic thinking. We built a business around supporting people personally and professionally, and that was what created our success. I know your business is the same. However, I am 100% aligned with you, and have probably had a lot of the same mistakes that you've made. Is I've poured into people who simply, their funnel wasn't open. And so you spend all this time, if the funnel is closed, there's nowhere to pour into, it just creates a mess, right? So, I've been accused of being what they call a puppy lover. In my family, it's called a puppy lover. It means you feel like you can go save everybody. And there's people that you can't, certainly. So I'm going to play this other video, and then let's talk about that one real quickly.
If I asked you, do you need to change? And you said to me, no, I'd be worried. Like you think you've figured everything out, like emotionally, professionally, all your relationships, everything's golden. Oh, okay. How's that working out for you? I think the answer is always yes, which is to view ourselves or our organizations as works in progress. That is an infinite mindset. Infinite mindset is fundamentally constant improvement. So, there's big change, there's little change, there's tweaks, there's dramatic change. Sometimes it's reacting to changing cultures, changes in culture, politics, technology. Sometimes the change is our own, sometimes we have to react to it. But I think the honest answer is yes, we have to change. There's always opportunity to improve something. So there's this notion in businesses that people fear change, which is just fundamentally not true. People fear sudden change, but incremental change is not threatening. People fear change that threatens them, right? And very often the way we change manage is we do lots of PowerPoint presentations about what's coming and don't worry, and we have all these things, and we treat it very rationally, and what we're ignoring is the emotional response. And what the law of diffusion tells us is that the first 2.5% of your population are your innovators. This is your big idea people. Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, right? Then you have 13.5% of your population that are your early adopters. These are the people who are willing to pay a premium, suffer an inconvenience, extend extra energy to be a part of something that reflects their own beliefs. Stand in line to see Star Wars a week before it comes out, even though you can just wait 2 or 3 weeks and buy a ticket and go in. For them, it's worth it, right? And then you have your early and late majority, who are more cynical, more practical. What's in it for me? What guarantee am I going to have? What happens if it goes wrong? Will I get my money back? Like that kind of stuff,
You ever seen the YouTube video of the guy dancing
Yeah.
solo, and then the early adopters come, and then next everyone's coming, and that's a movement, right?
That's a great example of how it works. Now amplify that to an organization. The innovator is the person who came up with the idea, the person who first started dancing, and other people said, "You're an idiot," right? But a small group said, yeah, but it's fun. We'll give it a try. And then before you know it, it's a perfect example of how law of diffusions work and how tipping points work. Identify the pockets of early adopters, individuals and teams, that are willing to try this new thing that you want to try, get the kinks out, and then before you know it, what ends up happening is the majority starts getting angry, like, why weren't we given this? Well, that's called demand. We love that. So it's about building demand and creating that tipping point. That's a more effective way to create sticky change.
In the beginning of the video, he has a strong opinion about people who say that they don't need to change.
Yeah.
Right. And this kind of goes back to what you and I were talking about. And don't get me wrong, Simon Sinek, he's living his truth, right? So good on him. Great. But very much live and let live. If someone makes a case to me that they don't want to change in a specific aspect, then to me that decision is in my court. That ball's in my court. I don't view it as my responsibility to get them to change or get their mindset to shift to embrace change. If that's their truth and that's what they're telling me, I need to recognize that and take that and say, okay, now it's my decision on how to move forward. So I don't hold that same opinion, but I understand where it's coming from.
Yeah, no, I think I kind of sit a little bit in between the two of you, because I think every single person is evolving and changing. We are aging, we are going to die. Like that's the finite item is that we all leave here, we start here the same and we end here the same. Like so we are going to change is going to happen.